The person who hurt you is waiting for something. They're waiting for the explosion, the message sent at 2 in the morning, the confrontation, the visible proof that what they did reached its target. Don't give it to them. Not because you're suppressing something, because you understand something they don't. Whoever controls their reaction controls the game, and you're done playing by their rules. Epictetus said it with complete precision. It is not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it. That single principle, applied without exception, removes every lever they were counting on to maintain influence over your interior. The blow they landed loses its force the moment you refuse to confirm it landed. And that refusal is not weakness dressed as composure. It is the most complete form of power available to you. Today we're going through 8 ways that your indifference, your silence, and your forward movement destroy far more than any act of revenge ever could. 1. Indifference is more devastating than 1,000 words. They want a reaction, a specific one. Anger, despair, visible suffering, the proof that they matter enough to destabilize you. When you refuse to produce that reaction, when you choose silence over the satisfaction of responding, you send a message that no argument could deliver. You are not worth my energy. And that lands harder than anything you could say, because you become a mirror, a reflection of someone who attempted to wound you and found nothing to wound. The attack did not fail because you were protected. It failed because the target they imagine no longer exists. 2. The person who hurt you wanted to feel significant. Behind every act of emotional aggression is a hidden requirement, to be recognized as someone who had impact, to be the center of something, even if that something is your pain. When you simply move forward, without explanation, without demanding justice, without any of the drama they were anticipating, they encounter a void. They wanted to be the axis around which your suffering rotated. Instead, they receive silence. And silence in this context is not nothing. It is the complete removal of the significance they were seeking. That removal is a specific kind of punishment that no confrontation could replicate. 3. Your absence speaks more clearly than any confrontation. Someone betrays you, disrespects you, attempts to humiliate you, and you vanish. No justification, no final statement, no trace of the war they were prepared to fight. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is to be unlike your enemy, not to match their energy, not to confirm that they succeeded in pulling you down to their level, to simply become someone they no longer have access to. Those who wanted conflict and find nothing are left with something far worse than opposition. They are left with the certainty that you did not consider them worth the effort of a response. And in that certainty, desperation grows without anything to feed on. Before we continue, this is where most people quit. If you're still here, you're different. Subscribe to this channel, not for motivation, but for mental tools you can actually use. In a world of noise, we offer direction. In a world of distraction, we build discipline. Hit that subscribe button now. Let's continue. 4. Your growth is the punishment they never anticipated. They imagined your collapse. They constructed a version of your future in which what they did to you produced visible damage. Instead, you built, quietly, without announcing it, without directing it at them, just the daily, unglamorous work of becoming someone more capable than the person they tried to diminish. There is no response more devastating to an ego than watching, helplessly, the undisturbed progress of the person they attempted to destroy. Every step forward you take is a confirmation that they failed, not because you're pointing it at them, because they can see it, and you don't even seem to notice them watching. 5. Contempt is a weapon that leaves no opening for defense. Anger still creates a bond. Hatred is still a form of attention. Both confirm that the other person occupies space in your interior. But contempt, real contempt, is different. It is the complete removal of someone from your interior landscape. Total erasure. Not dramatic, not performed. Simply the quiet reality that this person no longer registers as relevant. The manipulator does not want to be hated. They want to be remembered. They want to exist in your emotional world in some form, even a painful one. What you offer instead is oblivion. And oblivion corrodes in a way that hatred never could, because there is nothing to respond to, nothing to argue against, nothing to exist in relation to. Epictetus said that evil should not be answered with shouting, but with silence. This is that silence in its most complete form. 6. Self-command is the highest form of power available. They want you reactive, explaining yourself, visibly destabilized, the proof that their assessment of you was accurate. When you respond with calm, with composure, with the quiet certainty of someone who has not been moved, the control shifts completely. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not over external events. He was not describing passive acceptance. He was describing the active, disciplined choice to govern your own interior, regardless of what arrives from outside it. That serenity destroys something specific in the person who was counting on your collapse. It makes undeniably clear that they never had the control they believed they had, and that realization, once it lands, does not leave easily. 7. Disappearing without explanation removes every tool they have. If you argue, they can defend themselves. If you fight, there is still dialogue, still connection, still the mutual acknowledgement that both parties are present in the same conflict. But if you walk away in silence, without closure, without the final conversation they were prepared for, you take everything out of their hands. Seneca warned that engaging with those who operate in bad faith is a trap for your own dignity. When you choose instead to vanish with composure, without resentment, without rage, that person is left alone with their own decision. What seemed like a victory becomes a question they cannot stop asking, and the question that cannot be answered becomes a mental prison with no exit. They become their own jailer. You built nothing to keep them there. Your absence was sufficient. 8. Time does the work you don't need to do. At first, they may believe they won. Your silence might be interpreted as defeat. They might even perform confidence about the outcome. But time is indifferent to their interpretation. As the days accumulate, and you continue not reacting, not returning, not mentioning them, something shifts. Discomfort becomes doubt. Doubt becomes guilt. Guilt becomes the kind of regret that arrives in quiet moments and does not respond to argument. Marcus Aurelius wrote that time moves like a river and carries everything with it. You do not need to force anything. Your absence is the seed. Time completes the harvest, and you are already somewhere else entirely, building something real, while the harvest completes itself without your presence. 8 principles, one underlying truth running through all of them. The most complete victory over someone who tried to hurt you is not demonstrating that you are stronger than them. It is demonstrating that they never had the significance they believed they had in your life. Don't seek confrontation. Don't pursue closure. Don't perform your healing for an audience. Move forward, in silence, with the specific kind of dignity that requires no witness to be real. The person who tried to break you expected chaos. What they will receive is far worse. The gradual, undeniable certainty that they never mattered as much as they thought they did. And that is not something time softens. That is something time confirms. Tell me in the comments. Which of these 8 hit the closest to a situation you're currently navigating? You don't have to name names, just the number. And if this gave you something useful today, share it with one person who needs to hear it.